Hello unicorns, I know I look pretty strange. So just to kind of clue you in what we're doing today, I'm going to do the right half of my face the way I did my makeup 10 years ago. And I'm going to do the left half of my face the way I do my makeup now using my very expired Kat Von D Monarch palette. So I'm going to use just the one palette, but two very different looks. Now, I know I look like an alien. Why do I look like this? Some of you have been following me for a while, and you know that I have no eyebrows, as you can see. Now I have got an eyebrow here. These are temporary tattoos, and I like them because I have no eyebrows, and they create hair-like structures. They look a little more natural, and I can change the shape whenever I want. But on this side, I'm going to draw them in by hand the way I used to do it 10 years ago. So, without further ado, if you want to see then versus now, keep watching. I got my mirror, I got all my products, and I have my sippy stuff. So, yeah, let's get started. Now, my foundation and powder, that routine really hasn't changed much over the last 10 years. The only thing that's changed is the products that I use. Since I don't have the products I used to use anymore, I just went ahead and did my foundation and setting powder the way I normally do. The only difference is I have one eyebrow on because we're going to do the left half of my face the way I do it now, and the right half of my face, no eyebrow, because I'm going to pencil it in, well, powder it in the way I used to. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the complexion, and then we'll work on the eyes. Okay, so let's start the complexion. First thing we're going to do is do the half that I used to do 10 years ago. Now, 10 years ago, I didn't wear any contour. I really didn't understand the concept of contour. If I ever tried it at all, I tried it with blush, so it looked awfully odd. So for today, we're not using any contour. I'm using the same blush color on both sides, but I'm going to do this side the way I used to do it, which is just the blush, no contour. Okay, now before I put blush on the other side, I'm going to do some contour because now I do every day. So I'm going in with my e.l.f. Powder Contour Palette. By the way, the blush that I use is a Wet n Wild blush in the color Mello Wine. So that's this blush. That's what I'm using today. But we're going to start with the contour palette, the darkest shade in the contour, and we're just going to do the left half of the face. So I always contour underneath so I can kind of minimize my double chin, but we're going to try and do this on just the left half. I can kind of carve out my jawline. And blend that out. And then I'm going to do my cheek. And blend that out. We're going to structure that a little bit more by adding some light powder underneath. That I will dust away later. And then I'm going to contour my nose a little bit, but because I never did that before, I'm only going to do it on the left side. So it's not going to really make my nose look much narrower because I'm only doing one half, but you'll get the gist. I'm going to take all the excess product off the brush and I'm going to blend that out so it doesn't look quite so dirty. Okay. Now we'll go in and do blush on the left side. I'm going to take it into my temples a little bit, which I never did before. Now, my nose is a difficult situation because it's really hard to do just half the nose. But I'm going to do the best I can because I always try and put a little bit underneath. But we're just going to do it on the left side because I didn't do it before. Highlighter is another big issue. I never used to do highlighter. 10 years ago, in 2013, it wasn't really a thing. But it is a thing now, so I am using my Jeffree Star Platinum Ice palette. I'm going to use the color Ice Cold, which is kind of a golden shade. And the nose, we're just going to do the best I can with half. A little of it got on this side, but you get the idea. And up in here. Up in here, up in here. Okay, and a little bit up there. There we go. But nothing on this side because I never highlighted it right. Alright, let's get into the eye makeup. So I'm going to start with my right eyebrow. And for that, I'm just going to use the brown that's in the Kat Von D Monarch palette. It's not going to blend. I used to try and match my hair as much as possible. This isn't going to, but it's going to give you the idea of what I did. So we're just going to use the dark brown in the shade and do with what we got. So, I was not very good at feathering, nor was I very good at shaping, and they were very thin. So what I used to do is just map out the design and then kind of make them a little fuller. They were very curved. I would have liked more of an arch, but I wasn't very good at it. Now, I did actually have some hair 10 years ago. The thinner the eyebrows got, the harder it was to actually get them the way I wanted them. So I just started shaping them. It was just easier. But that would have been my eyebrow back in 2013. This is what I do now. Let's get started with the colors. Now, my eye look in 2013 was actually very simple. 2, maybe 3 colors tops. So let's start with the base color first. For that, I'm going to use a nude color, and I'm going to do it from lash to lid. I'm going to use this color right here, the big one. I used only mattes, never ever shimmers. I don't know why, but I never did. But this is a nude shade that I'm just going to take all over my lid. Then I'm going to go in with this shade right here, and this is going to start my contour shade. It's just going to be my transition shade. And then I'm going to take the dark brown that I used for my eyebrow, and that's going to be my contour shade. And I always did my eye makeup fairly light. It was heavy on the eyeliner and lashes, and fairly light on the eye makeup, so I'm not going to do this too dark. And then I'm removing all excess product. And I'm just gonna blend it all out like it's non-existent. Going back with that other transition shade, and I'm gonna blend it out even further. Not a lot of drama. The drama was in the lashes and the liner. But the liner wasn't all that good. Okay, and then I would hardly ever put anything below. But usually it was the transition shade with just the minimal amount of the dark contour shade. And then I make a mess and blend it out with my finger. Okay, so there's the shadow. That's it for what I did back then. We're going to get a little more dramatic now. So the first thing we're going to do is start with the transition shade. For that, I'm going to use the same one. But I'm going to take it out more of a wing. I'll make sure I'm not holding that mirror up too high. And I'm not worrying about the underside just yet. Now, I've got this laid down, but I want more structure. So I'm going to use a piece of sticky tape on the left side, but not on the right. And this is going to give me the wing shape that I want for the whole look. Next, I'm going to go in with this orangey rust shimmer. It's only slightly shimmery, but I really want that rusty shade. So I'm going to go in with that next. And I'm going to bring this a little on the lid, just in that outer V, because I'm going to add a darker color later, and I really want this peeping through. And I'm going in with the black tone, and we're going to go in just in that outer V. I'm going to deepen up a little bit because I'm going to blend it out again with the orange. Okay, we're going to go back in with the orange. And I'm going to blend that out. Actually, I think I'm going to go in with the gold. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in with the gold on my lid, because I'm going to use that light shimmer for my highlight on my brow bone. So now I'm just going to take that orange again. And just kind of blend it into here. Okay, I'm going to remove any excess product, and I'm going in with that lighter shade under my brow bone and in my inner corner. And I'll do the inner corner after I do the under eye. So under the eye, I'm taking the black again. And I'm just connecting the two. And then I'm going to take the orange and blend that out. Now I did remove some of my makeup, so I'm just going to touch that up so there's no seams, which means I got to put a little bit more shimmer on my cheek. Now let's talk eyeliner. On the right side, I would normally have used my black powder and I would spray it with setting spray. So let's do that. So I'm going to dip into the powder. And I still do this. Spray it with... Actually, in the 2000s I would have used, or in the 2013s I would have just used plain water instead of setting spray, but I still would have gotten the brush wet. And I would start in the inner corner and work my way out. And then I would just swoop the wing up. This little thin wing. Sorry, I'm trying not to block you, but I'm blind and I cannot see. There we go. Alright, that's how I would do it back in the 2013s. Now, how do I do it now? Pretty much the same way, but now I use tape because I suck at wing liner. So we're going to put that tape back on. Yes, I'll have to touch up the foundation and highlighter again. I'm going to use this as my stencil. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Black shadow with setting powder, or setting spray. Which I'm almost out of. I have another setting spray, but I'm almost out of this one. And we're going to make a wing liner. And I start with the outside now. And get my wing the way I want it. And then I do the lash line. Okay, so I'll go into the lash line and do that now. And I find if I look down into the mirror, it's a little easier to get really close to that lash line. Now, I used to use liquid liner. I would do the powder when I was in the 2013s, and then I switched to liquid felt tip liners. The reason I don't use it now is because I'm old, and my lids are wrinkled, and it bleeds into the wrinkles, so I'm back to the powder. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do my mascara and lashes off camera. They don't really change. I did my mascara and lashes pretty much the same way I do it now. So I'll do them off camera and then we'll come back and finish up the lips. Be right back. Like I said, lashes, mascara, not so different. Pretty much the same way when I wore them. But what I do differently now is I will put a little nude eyeliner on my lower waterline just to make it a little brighter and more awake. So let's go ahead and do that. It's nude, so it doesn't make a dramatic difference. But you can see it just opens it up and makes it brighter. We're going to finish up with lipstick on The right side, I'm going to use a bright red. Now, I still love me a good red lipstick, but it was the only color I wore in 2013. So we're going to use Runway Rogue Red Carpet, and I'm not going to use any liner because I didn't back then. So let's go ahead and do this half. Okay, now on the left side, while I still love me a good red, I've also learned to appreciate the beauty of a really pretty nude lip. I've also learned that I have wrinkles and the lip liner helps. Plus it helps me overline. So in order to overline, I do not start at my Cupid's bow and work my way down. I start here and work my way up. That way I don't do too much. And the same on the bottom. Okay. And then I'm using the color Booked Out, also from Runway Rogue, and I'm going to just fill it in. So there you have it, then versus now. We'll do the final match side by side. I'll cut my face in half, and you can compare.